Hello, this is Brian Kendrick, and you're on Blunt.
Well, this is a big time one right here. We are catching up with Brian Kendrick right here on Blunt. Brian, how are you, man?
I'm doing really good, Ned. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to come to Australia, and I'll be there next week.
Yeah, you're not too far away at all. And you've been here before. What's the best thing that stands out about Australia to you, Brian?
I like the people that's real cheesy, but I do. But I
Yeah,
like the people wherever I go. It's just because we're so similar, but the little differences are fun. Seeing a place called Cheeky Kebab to me is hilarious. To you, it's a kebab shop. So it's those
yeah.
little things, or the birds. What is just a pest to you is exotic to me. But my favorite out of all of it would be Mars Pods. Mars Pods might be my favorite candy in the world.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, pods are very good. I love that there, man. So, how do the
Good.
Australian crowds hold up compared to the American ones then, Brian?
I haven't done any of the lower end Australia shows. I've done some really bad shows in the States. I've been very fortunate. All the shows I've done in Australia have been good, and it's been good crowds and good locker rooms, good promoters, the wrestlers, and good treatment for me. I'm sure there's bad ones, just like there's bad bands around the world too. I just been very fortunate that all my time in Australia has been really pleasant.
Love to hear that right there. And of course, you've been everywhere, Brian. Big time WWE star. You were, of course, on TNA. Now you're doing the independents. How does it feel to you stepping into that more independent role?
Well, there's pluses and minuses. The big minus is the instability. If you get
Yeah.
hurt, you don't work, you don't eat. There's no consistency like there is with a contract, but a contract, I've been fired over and over again, from contracts. So a contract is not as stable as one might think, anyways. The upside to the independence is I get a little more time. When I go to
Yeah.
Australia, we were talking as we are trying to get this connection to work. I had to write it down, but yeah, Grampians National Park, J Ward, Insane Asylum. They mentioned giant koala as well as something I wrote down. So I'm going to have 3-4 extra days, and that's something you can only get on the independence. Not like the royal treatment, and so far as I'm staying at the Ritz when I come to town. I get great treatment. I get to see Australia hosted by real Australians, and real recommendations as to what I should try. And so it's really good. I really enjoy the Indies, and I'm trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, that is awesome right there. And you mentioned the giant koala. That is actually just down the road from me, Brian. And when you
No
check it
kidding.
out, check out its eyes. It's like this huge koala, but it's got these like red eyes that look evil. So it's quite funny.
Okay.
It's a
I'm
it's a
excited. Yeah, yeah. I just
yeah.
thought it was a town where there's koalas. It turns out it's a giant evil koala.
Just the eyes, man. You'll see when you're
Okay,
checking it out.
okay.
Yeah, it's like Australia is big for that kind of thing. Like we have giant everything's like we've got the giant koala, the big banana, the big ram. There's like all sorts of things everywhere. But it sounds like the guys are going to be showing you some stuff. And you mentioned J Ward as well. Are you into that side of things? Like that's meant to be haunted.
I'm into all sorts of unique. There's a website called Atlas Obscura, and it works like a Google Maps to show you the bizarre things around. And it would have Jay Ward on there because if it's haunted, it'll be on there. Or if
No.
it was the first this, the oldest that. I'm into all that stuff. It keeps life exciting for me. While I was younger, I might have been bored by something so stupid. Who cares if this is the oldest pear tree in all of Australia? Now I'm 46, and that's exciting. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Time you evolve, and I'm excited to see the giant koala now.
Yeah, the giant koala, its evil eyes, and hopefully you see some sort of ghost at J Ward.
Hopefully, I see something.
All right, man. From Spanky to Brian Kendrick, your
Hmm.
career has always embraced reinvention. How do you see your identity now?
Just as a grizzled old vet, right now I'm shaved because I'm off for a week. Uh, but by the time in Australia, I'll look all grizzled and gray right here, and I'm gonna be a a nasty guy who goes and tries to rough up the local hero, and sometimes the local hero through the support of the local fans finds an extra gear inside of him and is able to conquer this greasy old man. And that's what I do. And I go and I help these young guys now share my understanding of wrestling, and then they make me look good by using their athleticism against me, and it's a really nice way for me to go and get to see the world while sharing what I love and still getting to do it.
That's amazing right there. Well, do you get more satisfaction from performing or shaping the next generation like you're talking about?
Oh, performing. But if I'm performing with these younger wrestlers, then I get to do the both at the same time. To me, I get to help these young guys. I get to stay active by performing with them, and well, I just got back from New Orleans, and there's a really talented young man named Nate Bradley, and he can do all sorts of things athletically, and he really trusted me to you know let's to get my perspective, my vision on things, and I guess that's kind of my purpose these days.
Oh, I love that. And like, we mentioned you've been doing it for a minute now, and I guess wrestling's changed massively since the early 2000s. What do you think's helping the industry now, and what do you think may need to go?
So what helps it now is just like so many other things, it's instantly accessible in your hands, and there's so much of it, whether it's old stuff or freshly new stuff, with so many different independents, as well as the WWE has 15 hours of content a week, so
Yeah.
there's so much stuff that keeps getting churned out constantly. That's what's it's riding on now, I guess. I don't know what needs to go. For me to say that just sounds like I'm grumpy.
Yeah.
What I would say though is the disadvantage to the instant access and so much of it that we have right now is that nothing lasts for a week. 30 years ago, during the Attitude Era, something happens on Monday Night Raw, we had the ability to tape it on VHS, so we could relive it in a quality that's diminishing, and it's somewhat rare. And you need to watch it, on a VCR, on a TV, not on the go. You can't show it like this, and you can discuss what happened for a week.
Yeah.
You had a whole week for something else to happen and for your imagination to build on that. And with the next thing replacing what happened yesterday as opposed to 7 days ago, it's going to be hard to anticipate because you're constantly getting fed something else. I don't know if that makes any sense. If I just rambled, but it made sense to me.
No, 100% it made sense. Like, yeah, you need more, like it was better because you got more time to sort of take it all in. And I think you answered that very well, Brian. And I'm changing things up. Love seeing you wearing that Sonics jersey, like I said earlier.
Take
Sean Penn,
that.
that's amazing right there. And it makes me think, yeah, bloody love it, man. Those Peyton and Kemp days were amazing. I wanted to know, like, throwing back and we're talking about the old school, I wanted to know a little bit more about you personally. What's your
Hmm.
go-to music side of things there, Brian? Are you like a 90s grunge guy, or what do you get into? I've noticed a little bit of Pearl Jam there on your Instagram.
So any sort of music that would be playing on my Instagram is because I don't know how to not play music.
Yeah,
Uh, that I promise you. And this
that's
this is
gold.
no offense to any Pearl Jam fans, and I should like them. I grew up near Seattle, and I guess there's some sort of weird crossover. I think he's from San Diego. Regardless, I'm not a fan of Pearl Jam at all, at
Oh,
all,
there
at
you
all. So that was 100%. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
go.
What do I like for music? It changes. When I go running, I will run to dance music. When growing up, I loved Louis Armstrong. My favorite band of all time is Tool. I think there's
Cool.
a huge gap between Tool and anybody else for me. But I like old bands. I like the White Stripes. They're not an old band, but well, like Pink Floyd, or the band, or whatever. But I don't really listen to a whole lot of music.
Oh, very interesting. And got to say, that's amazing on tour there too. They're heavily rumored to be heading out to Australia. So very well timed, Brian.
Oh, is that right? When was the last time they've been to Australia?
It was about 4 or 5 years ago off the top of my head. So it's pretty exciting. They've just announced they're going to Japan. So usually it follows suit.
Oh, I hope for you. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Now, if your wrestling persona, Brian, could be summed up by one movie, what movie do you think that'd be?
Oh, wow. Golly, I'm gonna wind up emailing you later with a better answer. But for now, Pinocchio.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and I don't think I will come up with a better answer. I was about to say something stupid, but yeah, Pinocchio. And it's just really just kind of the story of life, me going out and trying to become a wrestler and finding myself through all the dangers and having to survive any of that, all the mistakes I've made, and trying to become a better man. So yeah, Pinocchio.
Oh, love it, love it, love it. So are there any books or thinkers or influences in your life, Brian, that help you approach storytelling on the topic of Pinocchio, I guess?
Okay, so the closest to a correlation to professional wrestling would be a philosopher named Roland Barthes. Barthes. He wrote a book called Semiotics, or I'm not sure if that's what the book was called or just the philosophy. But in there, he talks about professional wrestling. I don't believe his thought is exactly what I think it is, but I think it's pretty darn close, and I think it's closer to truth than what most wrestlers think it is. And it's as simple as wrestling fans, they go for catharsis. They go not because they think it's real, but they go because they know it's fake. It's the same reason people go to Shakespeare way back when Shakespeare came out, and high society would have mocked them because that person's not really dying. That's a cloth. But it doesn't matter. It's the release of this drama unfolding before your eyes that's and these things are hitting certain notes. And if you have, I'm trying to think of the right word, but not caricatures, but these big personas. There's a word for it. Young uses it. Regardless, we embody these. The pro wrestlers do. The fan lives through it. They see injustice develop in front of them, and this is what Roland Barthes believes, and I believe the same thing.
Yeah, that's very interesting right there. And having said that, do you think there's a moment in your career that fans might have overlooked, but you're incredibly proud of?
No, but what I hope is, if I were to be studied by a young wrestler, what I hope they find, what I strive for, is realism, building emotion, but Shawn Michaels really tugs people along. I think he's beautiful at doing it, but it's melodramatic in the selling. It's so fantastic, and I get swept up in the melodrama. I hope to sweep people up without the melodrama. I hope to be more realistic, and I hope that people are both in Shawn Michaels matches. They're accepting that it's a fantasy world, and they're getting swept along because he's so perfect at it. I want them to still believe that my match is real and still get them swept away.
Oh, that is crazy right there. And of course, you were trained by Shawn Michaels, right?
Yes, sir. I was trained under him and then under William Regal. I had several other trainers as well. Rudy Boy Gonzalez. I was lucky enough to have Tracy Smothers for a good long time. Robbie Brookside. On a month and a half, 2 months, but at least a good chunk. But the two names that wrestling fans would know that I had the most amount of time with is Shawn Michaels and William Regal. So the realistic, and why would you do that from Regal's influence, and then trying to get people to forget what they're watching is, not that it's fake. I want them to feel like they're a part of it. They're so carried away with it in like a Shawn Michaels match. That's what I strive for.
Yeah, oh, very well said. And I was a massive fan of you, Brian, when you were in TNA. It wasn't a huge run, like
Thanks,
you're there
man.
for a couple of years. Do you have any stories or memories that stick out from then?
I got a lot of memories. What I remember was there being a really talented roster. You know, I was able to have matches against good wrestlers. Just felt like even then it wasn't taken seriously. I enjoyed my time there. I wish it seemed more serious there, and maybe the matches would have been better. I think that there was too many goofy things that happened with TNA back then for things to be taken seriously. But really talented wrestlers, and I look back fondly on those times.
Yeah, I could talk to you about that for about a week, I think, Brian. But I really, really enjoyed your time there, and I really appreciate you taking time out. And of course, at the moment, you're the Wildcat Heavyweight Champion, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, holding the belt, man. That's amazing. You're coming to Australia next week. What else is on the cards for 2025 for you, Brian?
Okay, so when I get back from Australia, I'll be home for a little bit. Then I go off to Canada. I'm gonna be doing a whole bunch of shows. First I'll go to Nova Scotia, then down to Buffalo, but then I'll be doing just central Canada, Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and seeing parts of the world I've never seen before. I have to look at September. I know October I'm going back to the UK. As right now, it's just two shows, but I love going to the UK too. I love going to Australia. I love going to any country. My wife will finds it obnoxious. I come back and saying, you know, we can move there. It's so nice. We can move to Chile. It's beautiful. I just like traveling, and so that's what I'm excited for coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that is very, very cool right there. Well, very much appreciate you taking time out, Brian. He is heading our way as part of MXW performing, I should say, this Friday at Pivot City Showdown in Geelong, Saturday in Ballarat at the Neighbourhood Centre, and wrapping things up on Sunday at 11 Harriet Street in Horsham for Web Wars right there. Thanks so much for joining us, Brian. Really appreciate it, man. Be sure to hit this guy up, Mr. Brian Kendrick on Instagram.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for having me, buddy.